He cheated for 2 years. His family knew, mine did too, but I was the only one who didn't. On our anniversary, surrounded by all of them, I stood to give a toast. I thanked each person who helped him lie, called them by name, then removed my ring and walked out. The cake was never cut. The secret was. He cheated for 2 years. His family knew, mine did too. Everyone around me helped him lie while I planned our anniversary. I used to think we were solid. The kind of couple people envied quietly. He told me I was his piece, said I made life easier. I thought that was love. It turns out it just made me easier to lie to. We'd been together 4 years, lived together for 2. Shared calendars, passwords, a cat named Jojo. We were in that stage where everyone starts asking when the ring is coming. We played along, joked about eloping, dropped hints in conversations. Accidentally left ring tabs open on each other's browsers. He made me feel like the only woman in the world. Meanwhile, I was one of 2. Matt worked in sales, traveled a bit, but always came home when it mattered. Birthdays, holidays, bad days, he was there, said the right things. Touched me like he meant it. Posted me on Instagram with dumb captions like, "Built different," and "Wouldn't trade her." The kind of posts people leave heart-eye emojis under. His side girl probably saw them too. Looking back, I remember all the moments people called us goals. It's almost laughable now. His best friend once told me I brought out the best in Matt. His sister called me the calm to his chaos. My mom said we had that spark. Turns out, sparks are easy to fake when you've got the whole cast in on it. I wasn't suspicious. Not even close. He wasn't distant, didn't pull away, didn't pick fights. If anything, he leaned in more, kissed my forehead in public, sent me memes during the day, talked about names for future kids, said we'd name our first girl after my grandmother. That's how deep it went. He even let me plan our anniversary party. I made the guest list, sent invites, booked the venue. I picked the playlist, the menu, the cake. I planned it like a woman who believed her life was intact, and every single person who RSVP'd knew I wasn't. I remember little things now. The perfume that wasn't mine on his hoodie. He said a coworker spilled something. The card I found in his drawer that said, "To my favorite distraction." He claimed he bought it for me and forgot to give it. I believed him. I kissed him for it. There was never a dramatic moment. No lipstick on the collar. No hotel receipt. He was careful, smarter than I gave him credit for, but not so smart that he could stop me from finding out. Eventually. But for 2 years, I had no idea. I planned weekends. Decorated our place, refilled his shampoo, washed his boxers. Sent good morning texts when he traveled, prayed for his success, loved him without hesitation, while he loved me with conditions, loved me when it was convenient, loved me in rotation. People always ask, "Didn't you notice? Didn't you feel it?" The truth is no, I didn't, because he kept kissing me like he meant it, kept texting back, kept showing up to my mom's Sunday dinners and fixing her thermostat like a good son-in-law, kept telling me I was the one, and I believed him. They all knew, every single one of them. His friends, his siblings, my cousin. People I'd hugged, hosted, shared meals with, they looked me in the eye while he lied. The signs weren't loud. They were subtle, stretched out over time. I didn't piece them together until I had to. But looking back, the shift had already started. First, it was the late responses. He used to text me back fast, even during meetings. Then, suddenly, there were dead zones. Gaps where he was off the grid. He always had reasons. Phone died. Client ran late, missed the charger. Nothing dramatic, nothing wild, just little believable excuses. At first. Then there were the people around him. His best friend, Jordan, used to talk to me like a sister. We'd trade jokes, DM memes. Then out of nowhere, I was ma'am. Conversations dried up. He started calling Matt wild in that voice people use when they're saying more than they want to. I remember one night I texted Jordan about a surprise dinner I was planning. He left me on read. His sister, Alina, started acting weird too. She and I were close. Not best friends, but close enough to have regular brunches, check in on birthdays. One weekend, I asked if she and Matt were still doing family dinner on Thursdays, something he'd told me he went to every week. She hesitated. "He didn't tell you he stopped coming." He hadn't, I let it slide. Told myself maybe he didn't think it mattered. but it stuck in the back of my throat like a splinter. My cousin, Ray, was next. She and Matt had a joking relationship, called each other work spouses. Used to play fight at barbecues, tease each other constantly. Then, one night I brought Matt up in a group chat and Ray went quiet. Didn't reply for hours. When she finally did, she changed the subject. "Are you still thinking of going to Chalum?" No acknowledgement, no follow-up, just a pivot. There were dinners where people stared at their plates more than usual. Parties where I'd walk up to a group and everyone suddenly smiled too wide, changed the topic too fast. I caught Matt once, standing too close to his phone, angling it like a shield. He used to hand me his phone to pick songs. Now it stayed in his pocket. Still, I didn't jump to cheating. My brain didn't go there. Not because I was naive, but because it felt out of character. It didn't match the man I knew or thought I knew. The man who rubbed my back when I couldn't sleep. Who made me tea without asking. Who built me a bookshelf and engraved our initials in the corner like we were teenagers. But slowly, people started acting like they were performing around me. Like I was a guest in a story I didn't know was fiction. Fake laughs, quick exits, strange energy I couldn't explain. At one point, we were all at his mom's house, a small family gathering. Someone made a joke about men being dogs. The kind of harmless joke people make around couples. And his mom, trying to be funny, said, "Well, not all of them get caught." Matt laughed, so did everyone else. I remember looking around, confused. I wasn't even sure what the punchline was supposed to be. He rubbed my knee under the table. I smiled back, but something started sinking. Something I couldn't name yet. There was no confrontation, no screaming. I wasn't even suspicious enough to snoop. I just started paying attention. And the more I looked, the more I saw it. Not in him, but in everyone else. The way people glanced at each other when I walked into the room. The tension in small talk. The sudden guilt that flickered across faces when I said something loving about Matt. I remember telling Ray that Matt and I were thinking of getting a dog. She looked away when she said, "That's nice." That's nice, no excitement, no follow-up. Just a soft, uncomfortable lie of a sentence. They knew, they all knew, and I didn't. I was the only one still playing along, I wasn't even looking. That's what still gets me. I wasn't digging, I wasn't suspicious, I wasn't scrolling through his phone. I wasn't one of those girlfriends, and still it found me. It started with a charger. His phone was dying. He asked if I had the long cable he liked. I tossed it to him from across the couch. It missed, hit the floor. He bent to pick it up, phone in hand, screen still lit. That's when the notification popped up. I saw it before he did. "Can't wait to see you tonight." No name. Just the message. He saw me glance. He laughed too fast and tilted the screen away like it was nothing. "Spam," he said. "You know those bots that send random texts." I nodded, pretending I believed him. Then I excused myself to the bathroom. I took his phone with me. I don't know why I did it. Instinct. Not even suspicion, just something gut-deep and quiet. I walked into the bathroom, locked the door, and opened his messages. It wasn't spam. Her name was Elena. The texts were long, familiar. There were selfies, not explicit but intimate, her in his hoodie. Her holding a coffee cup I recognized from our kitchen. Her saying, "Last night was perfect." I didn't cry, I didn't throw the phone, I scrolled. There were months of messages, restaurant reservations, airfare receipts, hotel check-ins, complaints about work, jokes about me. Jokes that used my name. He'd called me the roommate to her. Like I was an inconvenience he hadn't figured out how to remove yet. I put the phone down, washed my hands. Looked at myself in the mirror and didn't recognize the face staring back. I walked out and gave him his phone. "You good?" he asked. "Yeah," I said, "just a cramp." He kissed my forehead and went back to watching something dumb on YouTube. I sat next to him, smiled when he made a joke, laughed in all the right places. But in my head, something was clicking into place. A quiet, irreversible shift. I didn't say a word, not that night, not the next day. I went home and started checking my own phone records. Not his, mine. Who had I called? What had I told people? Who might have known? I pulled up our shared calendar. Checked the dates he claimed to be on trips. Matched them with his flight receipts in our travel app. Everything lined up. That's what scared me the most. He'd covered it all so well, except that one text. He would have deleted it. He always did, probably. But that night he got lazy. Or maybe he thought he didn't have to be careful anymore. That was his mistake. I didn't scream, I didn't cry, I made a plan. The next morning I acted like nothing had changed, made us coffee, asked if he wanted eggs or toast. He kissed my shoulder and said I was spoiling him. I smiled, stirred his mug, set the table, sat across from him and watched him sip, calm as ever. I wasn't calm, but I stayed still. It was easier than I thought, pretending. I didn't ask questions, didn't accuse. I knew how liars work. The second you give them a warning, they start erasing. I needed him unaware, I needed him sloppy. So I started watching. Not him, the people around him. The first test was his sister, Alina. I called her that afternoon, casual, asked if she wanted to help me pick outfits for our anniversary party. She hesitated, not even a second too long, but I caught it. Then said she'd love to. Her voice went high, too polite. Matt's so lucky, she added, unprompted. That told me everything. Next was Ray, my cousin. I texted her a photo of Matt and me at the park. Look at us being gross, I wrote. She replied with a heart emoji. 2 hours later. When I called, her tone was off, tense. I brought up an old story, a night she got drunk and told Matt she'd fight anyone who broke my heart. She laughed, forced, changed the subject. That night I went through Matt's drawer again. Found the old card, the one he said he forgot to give me last Valentine's. I flipped it over, faint indentations on the back. I held it up to the light. There was handwriting pressure, but nothing written. Meaning, he'd started to write something, for someone, maybe me, maybe not, then tossed the idea and gave me the card as backup. I sat on the edge of our bed, holding it, thinking how long I'd been sharing space with a stranger. I didn't ask him about the text. Didn't mention Alina. I wanted to see how far he'd go. How many people had helped him keep it going. The answer came quick. A few days later, we went to dinner with his friends, Jordan and Tasha, double date. I watched Tasha closely. Every time I said something kind about Matt, she blinked like she was swallowing something sharp. Jordan kept refilling my wine glass. Too fast, avoided eye contact. I leaned into Matt, kissed his cheek, told him I loved him. Everyone at the table smiled. It looked normal, but I saw it. Jordan's jaw flexing, Tasha's foot tapping under the table. The way Matt grabbed my hand a little tighter, like he could feel the balance shifting. They all knew. That became clear. The only thing I didn't know yet was who else was in on it, so I kept smiling. I planned the anniversary party, sent invites, talked to my mom, checked everyone's reactions, measured pauses, counted fake laughs. I collected their lies like souvenirs. I was done being surprised. I wanted names. When I asked my mom something simple, her face told me everything. It was a Tuesday. I stopped by after work, said I was picking up the cake samples for the anniversary party, and asked if she still had that champagne set she used at her 25th. She nodded, then looked down at her hands. Quiet for a beat too long. You okay? I asked. She smiled tight, practiced. Of course, just tired. I sat across from her at the kitchen table, waited. Is there something wrong with the cake? She asked. I didn't say there was. She nodded again, cleared her throat. You and Matt are doing a big party this year, huh? Yeah, thought we'd go all out for 5 years. She stirred her tea, didn't look up. That's nice. That's nice. It hit the same way it did when Ray said it. Flat, safe. Like she was walking through a minefield and didn't trust the next step. I leaned in. You think it's too much. She finally looked at me. Eyes full of something I couldn't place yet, guilt maybe, pity. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Tried again, it's just, and stopped again. Just what? Another pause, then she smiled too wide. Nothing, I'm proud of you. Not the answer I needed, not the one I believed. I stood to leave. She walked me to the door. Gave me a hug that lasted longer than usual. Held me like someone who knew something they wished they didn't. As I pulled back, I asked, You like him, right? She blinked, Matt. I nodded, she hesitated. I want you to be happy. That's not what I asked. I smiled anyway. See you at the tasting. When I got in the car, I just sat there. Let the engine run. Her face played in my head the way her eyes dropped when I said his name. The way she shifted the topic to decorations. The way she hugged me like it might be the last time she got to believe I was okay. She knew, my mother knew, and she didn't tell me. When I brought up his name, my cousin's smile cracked. Ray and I met for lunch. Same place we always went, corner booth, overpriced salads, too loud music. I told her I needed a break from party planning, needed to vent. She nodded, said she'd be there in 10. She beat me there, I slid into the booth. She already had a drink, that was the first sign. You started without me, I said, she shrugged. Long day. We ordered small talk, work stuff. I let it run for a while before steering it where I wanted. Matt's being weird, I said, just enough to test the air. She didn't blink. Weird how? Like KG, I don't know. She stirred her drink, eyes fixed on the melting ice. He's probably stressed. That wasn't her usual response. Ray liked stirring drama. She loved saying you should ask him straight up or do not let that slide. But today she was calm, too calm. Has he said anything to you? She shook her head too quickly. Why would he? I don't know, you two used to talk. Another shrug, not really anymore. I nodded, let silence stretch between us. Then I went for it. You ever get a weird vibe from him? She paused just long enough to count. Then she smiled. The kind of forced, practiced smile I'd started recognizing on everyone. No, why? No reason. The waiter dropped our food off. She thanked him, didn't touch her plate, I didn't either. Are you excited for the party? I asked. She picked up her fork. Yeah, it'll be nice. Another soft lie. I pushed a little more. Everyone's coming. Even Elena said she might give a toast. Ray flinched. You okay? She nodded, just ate too fast. Her plate was untouched. I changed the subject, asked about her job, let her pretend the last few minutes hadn't happened. But I kept track of the cracks, the pauses, the stiff shoulders and careful words. Ray used to talk about Matt like he was family. She'd once joked she'd kill him if he ever hurt me. Now she couldn't even say his name. That was enough for me. She knew, maybe not everything, but enough to stay quiet. Enough to sit across from me, knowing I was planning a celebration for someone who'd been lying to me for years. And she still picked a dress for the party. When his sister said, "He loves you," before I said anything, I knew she was covering. It was a casual visit. I texted Alina that I was nearby, asked if she wanted to grab coffee. She said yes, too quickly. When I showed up, she was already seated, fidgeting with her straw wrapper. I hadn't even sat down yet when she blurted it. He loves you, you know. No hello, no smile, just those words. On loop in her head, clearly rehearsed. I sat down, looked her in the eye. I didn't say he didn't. She laughed like she realized how obvious it sounded. Sorry, just, people forget to say it sometimes. That wasn't a thing. No one just leads with that sentence unless they're trying to patch a hole. I stirred my drink. Something bothering you? She shook her head. No, why? You seem on edge. I'm not. We sat in silence for a moment. She kept glancing out the window like someone waiting for a getaway car. I tried a softer angle. I feel like you've been weird with me lately. Her jaw tensed. I haven't. You haven't been around. You didn't come to the last dinner. You canceled on the tasting. She looked guilty for half a second, then forced a shrug. Work's been insane. Right. Another beat passed. She folded her napkin slowly, avoiding eye contact. You and Matt are okay. There it was, the test. I nodded. Of course, why wouldn't we be? No reason, she smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. He just talks about you a lot. Good things. Yeah, all good. Like what? She blinked. What? What does he say about me? She hesitated. That you're good for him, that you keep him grounded. It sounded like something she made up on the spot. Generic, polished, useless. Alina, I said calmly, I'm asking you one thing and I just want the truth. Her face went pale. Did he cheat? She looked away, bit her lip, took a long breath, then she said it again. He loves you. Not an answer, just a line. I nodded. Finished my drink, stood up. She didn't follow me out. They let me plan an anniversary party for a man who'd been sleeping with someone else for 2 years. No one stopped me, not a word, not a flinch. I picked the date, designed the invites, called the venue, booked a private room at his favorite restaurant, the one with the skyline view and overpriced steak. I ordered centerpieces, arranged a playlist, coordinated outfits. I was smiling in every group chat, keeping everyone in the loop. Everyone who had lied to me, I should have noticed how quiet they all were. No one offered to help. No excited messages. No real opinions, just vague thumbs-up reactions and sounds good texts. Matt didn't ask a single question. Didn't peek at the guest list. Didn't offer to cover part of it. That wasn't like him. Normally, he'd be all over it, asking what kind of cake I ordered, what color scheme we were doing. This time, he was detached, polite but distant. "Whatever you want, babe," he kept saying, "whatever I want." Right. I kept the smiles going, I rehearsed them in the mirror, practiced the right tone. Casual, excited, in love. I wanted them all relaxed when the time came. I needed every single person in that room to think I still believed the lie. I made the calls. I coordinated the RSVPs. Every time I saw their names come through, Alina, Jordan, Ray, my own mother, my stomach twisted. But I confirmed them anyway. Every "can't wait" felt like a taunt. Matt kissed me in the kitchen one night while I was on the phone with the bakery. I muted the call, smiled up at him. "Pick a cake flavor." He grinned. "Surprise me." "You sure?" "I trust you." He really said that. I finalized the guest count. 36 people. Friends, family, people who hugged me hello and kissed me goodbye while knowing I was being played. The closer the day got, the calmer I felt. I had everything I needed. Names, faces, proof. I didn't need to scream. I didn't need to argue. I just needed a microphone. That morning, he kissed my forehead and called me his world. He always did that, touched my face like it was the first time, looked me in the eyes like he meant it. It used to make me feel safe. Now it just made me sick. "Big day," he said, stretching in bed. "Yeah," I said. "You excited?" He grinned. "You planned everything. I just get to show up and look good." I watched him get ready, watched him moisturize, fix his collar, put on the watch I bought him last Christmas. He asked if I liked his shirt. I said he looked perfect. He did. That was the worst part. He wrapped his arms around me from behind while I stood at the bathroom mirror. "You know I love you, right?" I said, brushing mascara on. He kissed the back of my neck. Held me a second longer than usual. "You've been quiet lately." "Just focused," I said, trying to make tonight nice. He nodded like that made sense. Like I was just a little overwhelmed by the party. He didn't see it coming. None of them did. On the way there, he played music, held my hand, talked about how people might assume we were engaged by the end of the night. I smiled and asked, would that be such a bad thing? He squeezed my fingers. "Not if you're asking." We laughed. I looked at his profile while he drove, calm, confident, happy, like someone who thought he'd gotten away with it. When we pulled up to the venue, he turned to me before getting out. "You really outdid yourself." "Thanks," I said. I stepped out of the car first. He grabbed my hand like always. We walked in together. He looked proud. I looked in love. One of us was lying. I wore white. They wore smirks. The room looked beautiful. Soft lights, fresh flowers, the playlist humming low in the background, everything just as I planned it. Every detail carefully placed by the woman they thought still had no idea. I stepped in first. Heads turned. Smiles formed, forced, nervous, flickering. Matt walked in behind me, hand at my back like a showman. A few people clapped. Someone whistled. He leaned in and whispered, "You look unreal." I thanked him without turning my head. Ray was by the bar. She waved. Her mouth smiled, but her eyes didn't move. Alina stood near the cake table. She looked down the second we locked eyes. My mom hovered by the corner, adjusting her necklace like it gave her something to do. None of them walked over. I walked around the room like nothing was off. Hugged people. Thanked them for coming. Kept the mask on. It was almost too easy. They weren't just lying to me anymore, they were lying to themselves, trying to pretend this wasn't about to fall apart. Jordan came up and clapped Matt on the back. 5 years, man, damn, that's commitment. He didn't look at me when he said it. Matt laughed. She puts up with a lot. He had no idea how true that was. Tasha gave me a long hug, too long. "You look stunning," she said quietly, then added, "You okay?" I smiled, never better. More people arrived, toasts were poured. Laughter filled the space, but it all felt hollow, like watching a play where every actor already knows the ending. Matt made a small thank you speech, just a few lines. He called me his partner, his anchor, the love of his life. People clapped. I stood next to him with a full glass and an empty stomach. I could feel the energy in the room shifting. A low tension, eyes darting, everyone waiting to see when I'd say something. They didn't know I already was, just not with words. Not yet. I watched them toast him. One by one, they raised their glasses. All smiles, all lies. Jordan went first. To Matt, he said, for being the guy we all call when we need something, a laugh, a ride, a drink, advice. And to the woman who somehow makes him better. Everyone laughed, I smiled, tipped my glass toward him. Then Tasha, to the kind of love that lasts, she said. Even when life gets busy, even when things get messy, you two are what we hope for. She didn't look at me when she said it. Her eyes stayed fixed on her drink. Then Alina. She didn't want to, I could see it in her hands. They shook slightly as she stood. Matt's been my brother my whole life, she said, voice low. But he became something else when he met you. Softer. Better. I raised an eyebrow. She cleared her throat. To 5 years of whatever it takes to keep choosing each other. That one stung. Choosing, like this was mutual, like we were both playing the same game. Ray clinked her glass next. Y'all really made it this far, huh? She said, trying for lightness. Honestly, if you'd asked me back then, I wouldn't have guessed. A few people laughed, I didn't. And look at you now, she added, nodding toward Matt. Still standing. Still smiling. She sat back down fast, didn't meet my eyes. Even my mom said something. A soft, short toast. To my daughter's happiness, she said, voice a little too calm. That's all I've ever wanted. She didn't say his name. Each toast landed like a pinprick. None of them dared go too deep. No one mentioned love directly. No one used words like faithful, honest, loyal. They stuck to safe ground, admiration, good times, hope. Hollow sentiments wrapped in nervous grins. I stood at the edge of it all, holding my glass. My turn was next. I smiled, stood, and took the mic like I'd practiced it 100 times. The room went quiet. Not instantly, not a dramatic silence, just a slow, uneasy hush as conversations died out and heads turned. Glasses hovered midair. Forks paused mid-bite. Everyone looked at me. I looked at them. Faces I'd known for years. Faces that had smiled at me, hugged me, celebrated birthdays and holidays and promotions. Some had shared inside jokes with me. Some had cried in front of me. Now they all sat frozen, waiting. Matt was beside me, arm draped behind my chair. He looked proud, relaxed, still under the impression this was a celebration, that I was about to say something sweet. I tapped the mic once. Steady grip, steady voice. Thank you all for coming, I started. Really, I mean it. A few polite smiles, nods. I know we've all been to a lot of parties together. Birthdays, holidays, barbecues, baby showers, but this one was special. I planned this one myself. People chuckled softly. Matt laughed next to me. I didn't look at him. This was supposed to be a milestone, I said. 5 years, a lot can happen in 5 years. I scanned the room, took my time. Some of you have known me forever. Some of you just a few years. But all of you, every single one of you, has been close enough to know what mattered to me. My voice didn't shake. I kept my face calm. And that's what makes tonight really special. Because it's not just about us. It's about all of you. A few heads tilted. I smiled again. And I want to say thank you, truly. I want to thank the people who made this relationship possible. Who helped keep it going. Matt shifted beside me. Not much, just enough. I want to thank Ray, I said, turning toward her, for always changing the subject at exactly the right time. Her mouth opened, then shut. Alina, I continued, for making sure I heard the phrase, he loves you, every time I got too close to the truth. Alina's eyes dropped to her lap. Jordan and Tasha, I appreciate the fake smiles, the clumsy toasts, the loyalty to him over the truth. Must have been exhausting. They didn't move, no one did. And Mom, I looked at her last. For keeping quiet even when I gave you the perfect chance to tell me, I guess silence really does run in the family. A fork clinked against a plate. I glanced at Matt just once. His smile was gone now. His mouth slightly open. He didn't move to stop me. I faced the room again. So tonight, I'm not just celebrating 5 years. I'm celebrating the end of a lie. One that you all helped hold up. No one clapped, no one blinked. I raised my glass. Cheers. I started with love. That's what made it land. Not rage, not bitterness, just a calm, steady thank you. I want to start by saying I really did love him, I said, mic still in hand, eyes sweeping the room. Not in a casual way, not in a bored, stuck kind of way. I loved him like I was building a life. Like he was my safe place. And for a long time, I thought that was mutual. Silence, which is why I want to go back just for a second and thank some specific people. I turned toward Ray. Ray, my cousin. My sister in every way that counted. You used to say you'd throw hands for me. You did, just not on the right side. Ray's jaw tightened. She didn't speak. Thank you for keeping secrets. For dodging my calls the day after I found that text. For pretending nothing was wrong while I sat across from you eating lunch and doubting myself. Then Alina. Thank you, Alina, for pretending to love me like family. For all the brunches, the birthday gifts, the fake compliments. And when I asked you directly, when I gave you a clear chance to come clean, thank you for choosing him. She looked like she wanted to disappear. Her mouth was tight, fists curled in her lap. Jordan, Tasha, you guys taught me a lot. About loyalty. About how people can show up, laugh with you, drink with you, and still hand your boyfriend a cover story behind your back. No one moved. No one denied it. They knew better. I used to think I was just lucky to be surrounded by such solid people. Turns out I was just quiet enough to lie to. My mom was still staring down at the table. I saved her for last. And you, Mom, you taught me to trust my gut. You told me growing up to always listen to the space between someone's words. I listened. I watched your face the day I asked about that champagne set. You looked at your hands, you didn't lie, you just said nothing. That silence cost me 2 more weeks of pretending. Her lip trembled slightly, she still wouldn't look up. I took a breath. I want you all to know something. I'm not angry. Not in the way you think. I'm not here to ruin the night. I'm here to end the lie. And I think you deserve to hear the truth since you worked so hard to hide it. I looked at Matt then. He still hadn't said a word. Thank you, I said, turning toward him now, for helping him lie. No one breathed. You could hear silverware stop mid-clink, glasses set down too hard. I want to say it clearly in case anyone's confused. I know about Elena. His name didn't move. Not a blink, not a twitch. But his throat flexed once, quick, sharp. I know how long it's been going on. I know the hotels. I know the burner number. I know the names he called me in those texts. I know he called me the roommate. I know she wore my hoodie. Someone whispered something near the back. I didn't care who. 2 years, I said, holding up 2 fingers. 2 full years, and not one of you warned me. Not one of you slipped. I looked around the room again. You all lied by omission. You all watched me plan this party, make this guest list, pick this damn cake. And you let me. I locked eyes with Tasha. I thanked you in the group chat for helping me with the music. You said anytime, babe. You knew he was F** seeking someone else that same week. Jordan shifted. His jaw was tight. Alina, I continued, you said I brought out the best in him. You looked me in the face and said that, knowing he was telling another woman she was his piece. I turned to Ray. And you changed the subject every time I brought him up. You knew you didn't even lie well. You just smiled and said nothing. I walked slowly toward the center of the room. Calm, controlled, the mic still steady in my hand. I'm not embarrassed, you should be. I stopped in front of Matt. He still hadn't spoken. His face was blank, eyes locked on mine. He didn't reach for me. He didn't try to explain. Smart move. Nothing he said would have mattered. This wasn't a relationship, I said. It was a group project. And you all passed at keeping me in the dark. I turned back to the crowd. But tonight, I'm done being the only one telling the truth. You knew you hit it. You smiled at me anyway. I let the words sit there for a second. Someone near the back coughed. No one laughed. No one even pretended anymore. You sat at dinners with me, I said, scanning the room. You posted birthday messages. You tagged us in photos. You stood next to me while I wrapped gifts for him, made plans, wrote vows in my phone notes. I looked at Ray again. You cried when I told you we were looking at rings. Her face broke just for a second. Then it hardened again. You could have said something, I continued. A warning, a hint, one honest sentence. No one moved. But you didn't. You stayed quiet. You looked me in the face and let me believe I was the lucky one. I turned to Alina. You said he was different with me, that I calmed him down. Was that supposed to make it easier to watch? She didn't answer. Her eyes stayed fixed on the floor. I shifted toward the other side of the room. I asked you things, all of you. I gave you chances, I gave you space to step in. And you chose silence, you chose him. I looked toward my mom and my voice stayed even. I called you after I found the text. I didn't tell you what it said. I just needed someone to tell me I wasn't crazy. And you said, you too have been through a lot. She looked up finally. Her eyes were glassy, but she didn't speak. You weren't protecting me, I said. You were protecting yourselves. From the discomfort. From the fallout. From having to admit that the man you'd all invested in was lying through his teeth. I paused, let the quiet stretch out again. Every hug, every fake toast. Every so happy for you. You knew what you were doing, and you did it anyway. I turned back to the center. I could feel the heat of the lights above. My palms were dry, my voice hadn't cracked once. You didn't just let him lie, I said. You helped. And then I looked at him. Finally, I looked at him last. He was still sitting, still quiet, face blank, not defensive, not shocked, just stalled. Like someone who knew the engine had died but was still pressing the gas. I stepped closer, held the mic in one hand, my eyes on his. I wanted him to see it. Not rage, not hurt, just clarity. The part he hadn't counted on. I know, I said. I've known for weeks. A flicker, just a small twitch in his cheek. I found the messages, the photos, the travel confirmations. I saw the text that popped up the night you asked me to help pick your niece's birthday gift. His jaw clenched, still silent. I didn't confront you then because I wanted to see how far you'd go, if you'd stop, if anyone else would stop you. I looked around once more. None of you did. Then back to him. I watched you get dressed for this party, kiss me, call me your world. I watched you stand in this room and let them toast you like this was real, like you earned any of it. He didn't move, didn't blink, just sat there taking it like he knew there was nothing left to salvage. I lowered my voice just enough so only the front rows could hear. You called her your piece, that's what you said, but you told me that first. So either it meant nothing or you were just recycling material. Still nothing. He looked like he wanted to disappear. I straightened up. I don't need an apology. I don't want an explanation. I'm not here for closure. I'm here to be done. Then I looked down at my hand. I took off my ring. Slowly, on purpose. I wanted them all to see it. No dramatic gesture, no speech. Just a quiet moment that said everything. I slid it off with my thumb. It came off easy, lighter than I remembered. Funny how something so small can weigh so much until it's gone. The room was dead silent. No music, no whispers, just air. I walked to the nearest table, the one with the flowers, the champagne, the untouched stack of toasting flutes, and set the ring down in the center. No tray, no box, just bare on the linen, right in front of everyone. Matt's eyes followed my hand, but he still didn't say a word. Good. I let my fingers rest on the table for half a second longer. Then pulled them back, slow and clean, no shaking, no rush, just done. The ring sat there like it didn't mean anything anymore, because it didn't. I turned back to the room. No one moved. Some looked away. Some stared at the ring. My mom covered her mouth. Ray was frozen. Elena had her arms crossed, lips pressed so tight they were white. I didn't care. I adjusted the mic stand once, then stepped away from it. No thank you, no goodbye. Just that one small click of metal leaving skin. The cake was never cut. The secret was. It sat untouched in the corner, 3 tiers, white frosting, gold lettering. I had picked the flavor. Sent the bakery the quote I wanted on top. 5 years of us. I walked past it without a glance. No one moved to slice it. No one asked if they should. It wasn't just dessert anymore. It was a reminder of what they helped build, of what I just tore down. I picked up my purse from the chair. The same one I set there hours ago when I thought I was showing up to celebrate. It was still zipped, still full, like the rest of me, ready. Matt stood up when I started walking toward the door. Not fast, just enough to make it look like a reflex. Wait, he started. I didn't stop. Someone else said my name. Tasha, maybe, or Ray. It didn't matter. I opened the door, stepped into the hallway. Cool air hit my face. The muffled sound of nothing behind me. I didn't turn back. The ring was on the table. The cake was untouched. The lies were out. I didn't owe anyone a speech after that. Not even a glance. They could divide the leftovers. Box up their shame with the centerpieces. Drive home in silence, knowing I'd thanked them by name. I pressed the elevator button. Waited. When the doors opened, I stepped inside and didn't look up. I didn't need to. They tried to follow. I didn't turn around. I heard my name as the elevator doors started to close. First from behind me, fast footsteps, a voice catching. Wait, please. I think it was my mom, maybe Ray, I didn't check. The elevator hit the lobby. I walked out, I could hear more behind me, shoes against tile. A man's voice now his. Saying my name low and tight like he just remembered I could leave. Too late. The valet looked up as I crossed the floor. I handed him the ticket like nothing was off. Like I hadn't just ended a relationship in front of 36 people. He nodded, called for the car. Glass doors slid open behind me. I kept walking. Can we just talk? Matt said, somewhere behind my shoulder. Not a yell, not a plea, just a desperate murmur. Like maybe if he kept his voice calm, I'd stop. I didn't. Please, he said again, closer now. Can you just look at me? I kept walking. The car pulled up. I reached for the handle. Someone else said something. My mom again, maybe. Sweetheart was all I caught. I opened the door, sat down, closed it. The glass muted everything. Matt was at the curb, standing there like he had something to say, but no words left that mattered. My mom behind him, half a step away. Ray to the side, frozen. No one touched me. No one blocked me. They all just watched. I gave the driver the address. Calm, even, as we pulled away, I looked forward, not back, not once. I kept walking, out of the hotel, out of the lie, out of every version of myself that had stayed quiet just to keep the peace. The car ride was silent. No music, no small talk, just the low hum of the engine and the sound of my own breath finally slowing down. I watched the city pass outside the window. The same streets I'd driven with him 100 times. But they looked different now, like they didn't belong to us anymore, just me. The driver pulled up to my place. I tipped him, thanked him, walked inside without rushing. I locked the door behind me. The quiet didn't feel heavy. It felt earned. I slipped off my shoes, took off my earrings, dropped my phone on the counter without checking it. I knew what would be waiting: missed calls, texts, apologies that didn't count, explanations that came too late. I didn't care. I made tea, not because I needed comfort, just because it was something to do, something I could choose for myself. I sat on the couch with the mug in both hands. No music, no TV, no scrolling, just stillness. No one calling my name, no one asking me to pretend. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't holding anyone else's secrets. I wasn't broken. I wasn't lost. I was just done, and that was enough. Thank you for watching. Please do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I love you all.